If you think about it, most agencies know what they're going to talk about, who they will introduce, program,
Let's be honest, nobody expects an emergency or disaster, especially one that affects them, their employees, and their business personally. Yet the simple truth is that emergencies and disasters can strike anyone, anytime, and anywhere. These emergencies, either man-made or natural, may have the potential for severe injury or death to workers and even extreme property damage. Having set procedures to follow in case of an emergency can help minimize these risks at your workplace. These set procedures can be developed and implemented through an emergency action plan. Hi, I'm Sergio with A&H Safety, and in this video, I will explain what an emergency action plan is and how it can help keep you and your employees safe if and when disaster strikes. Emergencies and disasters can strike anywhere at any time on a construction site, or at any workplace for that matter, causing potentially catastrophic injuries to workers and/or damage to property. A workplace emergency is in a situation that threatens workers, customers, or a public, disrupts or shuts down operations, or causes physical or environmental harm. As mentioned at the start of the video, emergencies may be natural or man-made, and may include earthquakes, floods, fire, utility strikes, chemical spills or releases, disease outbreaks, explosions, and many more. So, how can an emergency action plan help in case any of these emergencies I just listed occurs? Well, for starters, it can help facilitate and organize employee actions during an emergency. The confusion of an emergency can make a bad situation worse and put lives at risk. To accomplish this, an emergency action plan outlines at a minimum procedures for emergency evacuation, including type of evacuation and exit route assignments, procedures to be followed by employees who remain to operate critical plant operations before they evacuate, procedures to account all employees after emergency evacuation has been completed, procedures to be followed by employees performing rescue or medical duties, the preferred means of reporting emergencies, and names or regular job titles of persons or departments who can be contacted for further information or explanation of duties under their plan. Because every workplace or worksite has its own unique set of hazards, geographic location, operations, number of employees, etc., there must be a site-specific emergency action plan wherever your employees are operating, not just for your centralized workplace. With that being said, it's important every employee on that specific job site is trained and understands the emergency action plan before they begin work there. So now that we understand what an emergency action plan is and why it is crucial to help keep your workforce and workplace safe, let's talk about what goes into developing one. It all starts with analyzing and understanding your workplace or worksite's potential hazards. These hazards obviously vary depending on the type of work that your company performs and your location. However, some hazards will be present no matter where you are, such as earthquakes, fires, and other natural disasters we have no control over, especially if you work or live in an area prone to such natural disasters. Once we understand the potential hazards or emergencies that may occur at our workplace or worksite, we can start putting together our emergency action plan, starting with identifying roles and responsibilities. For emergency situations, designate an individual to be in charge of following and getting others to follow the procedures you outline in this plan. This person will usually also be sure that everyone is accounted for after an evacuation. If you are a larger company, you may need more than one, and be sure that the hierarchy is clearly outlined and everyone understands that the individual or individuals are in charge during this situation. Next, ensure that there's a clear method and procedures for reporting fires and other emergencies, whether it's dialing 911, calling an internal emergency phone number, pulling a manual fire alarm, or other procedures which may change depending on the type of emergency. Be sure to establish evacuation policies and paths that are clear and easy to follow. It's a good idea to keep a map outlining the exit routes, assembly points, location of fire extinguishers and alarms, etc., and be sure to train employees on it and keep it on site. Have procedures in place for employees who must remain during the beginning of an evacuation to take care of greater hazards. This includes employees who must use fire extinguishers, shut down gas lines and/or electrical systems, or safeguard hazardous materials to keep a bad situation from getting worse. Just be sure that the employees designated to do this are adequately trained to accomplish the task at hand. Note those who can perform medical care, from first aid to CPR, and make sure that they're in a proper position to do so. And be sure to provide clear communication during and immediately after a dangerous incident. Great, now you develop your emergency action plan. You're all done, right? Well, not necessarily. Your plan provides no benefit if it's developed and simply just filed away. It needs to be shared with the entire workforce affected by the plan, so that they understand the procedures to follow in case of an emergency. This can be done through training, providing a copy of the plan to each employee when requested, having a copy of the plan on site and available to anyone for review, and even running through emergency procedure exercises, like running fire drills in grade school. Company leadership and management should also be in the developing process of this plan to ensure that all necessary resources are provided. It's also important to periodically review the plan to make sure that any necessary changes or improvements are made. A company can go through many changes, whether it's personnel turnover, new equipment or materials, or physical changes to the workplace, and the plan should be updated to account for those changes. We hope this video has given you a better understanding of what an emergency action plan is and how it can essentially help keep your employees and property safe and minimize damage during an emergency. If you need help developing an emergency action plan for your workplace or worksite, or have any questions regarding safety in general, be sure to contact us using the information provided below. We'll also love to hear from you guys in the comments. What unique hazards do you have at your workplace? What set procedures do you have or have developed in case of an emergency? Be sure to also follow us on all social media platforms to stay updated with our latest safety tips and tricks. And as always, until next time, be safe and thank you.